Hello and welcome to the 100th and ninth, I don't know if that's right, 109th episode of Rambling Week. How's it going? Hope you're doing alright. It is about to become somewhat chilly throughout a lot of the U.S. and in my area. There's been a few people I've talked to this past week. It's the it has felt like a proper winter for the first time in a little while. Last few winters have been like, oh yes, here's maybe like a week or two of cold and snow, and then mild temperatures for the rest of it. And now it is like, oh, we're gonna change that for this year. This year we're gonna be a kind of you're gonna get a little bit of snow early. We're gonna hold off, and now we're gonna start 2025 with with all the cold and chill. Surprise! Which I know for some people bums them out about not having a white Christmas, but I don't know. I always liked the cold and the snow, particularly with the snow. When you get a lot of snow, it kind of helps serve as like a dampening effect for noise. It feels like, which is kind of like, ooh, this is nice and quiet. When it gets really, really cold, it does that because people are like, I ain't going outside. I don't want to deal with that. I'm good. I'm one of those maniacs. It's like, yes. uh, but, okay. But yeah, hope everybody's week's going all right. I got some. Yeah, I guess I'll start with this and then kind of work my way throughout the past week. I got some really upsetting news and just wasn't expecting it. But a friend of mine from college, a good friend of mine from college, he had been working in China for like 15 years or so. He passed away on Friday, and he had made a couple posts on things in general to people a few months back about like, oh, I'm going to be coming back, and I know I'm not going to be coming back to China, and take care of yourselves, and health is important, kind of thing. And then he got back in the States a few weeks ago, and just all of a sudden, my mom actually called me because he had kept in touch with her a lot better than we kept in touch with each other, unfortunately. But he was always like, "Oh yeah, you should come over. You'd probably really enjoy it over there." And from the accounts, at least I was aware of, because I did get to talk to him a couple times. More recently, he enjoyed it. I mean, you're there for 15 years. You either enjoy it or you're stuck there for for a reason. But he he got back a couple weeks ago, and then his sister had put up a thing on Facebook, and my mom ended up calling me because I was at work, and she was like, "Did Matt get a hold of you?" And Matt reference to previous guest Arble. I'm talking about AI some time ago. Probably should revisit that. Anyways, and she was like, "Did he get a hold of you?" I was like, "Why? No, what's going on?" And then she dropped that on me. I was just like, "Oof." And I talked because both Cody, who'd been on, my brother, had been on a previous episode talking about the Byzantine era of the Roman Empire, you could say. But him and my dad, because they both knew Mario, and he it was just kind of they were both a bit shocked about it because he was about a year older than me or so. But he the only thing I could say is that he did what he did with his life. I enjoyed the lots of random chit chats and stuff that we had back in college. And he, set out to go work there, particularly in China. That was kind of something he wanted to do. So to do that, and then to do that as long as he did, and then to have that sudden, oh, my health's turning for the worse, let me spend it with family. I think that is, that's the mark of who he was to a degree, and then also just all the nice things that people had to say about him from just all sorts of different walks of life and times of life and stuff. So the world is much poorer without him. So rest in peace, Mario. But yeah, that happened Friday, and work-wise, nothing too upsetting or obnoxious. It was actually a fairly regular work week, which I was talking to one of my coworkers about it. I should not be relieved or happy that my day is just a full day. I was kind of like, wintertime, it's usually when things are supposed to kind of calm down a bit, and they really haven't. It's not, not quite the full typical 40, but it's close enough to where you're not really getting tons of it. However, it's dropped enough for me to get back into a good groove of writing. I think I think I've done 3 days in a row. So, and if not, this will be the third day, or this will be the fourth day, one or the other. And it's good to get back into that, because I've been really bad about that. But combined with that, I'm getting along not nearly as far as I'd like to. Surprise. Well, but where I'm at with it, since I don't want to do any sort of spoilers, of course, or anything, I had an idea for something to kind of begin early in this. Like, not necessarily a story within a story, but just some arcs for things going on, and I think I might accomplish what I'm trying to do with it. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. But it is coming along, and I'm happy for it. And I'm still feeling like this is going to be a pretty weighty book. Like with part one, it is 400 some odd pages. The book is buried under stuff. Let's say it's just 400 some odd pages. I think it is. It might be 370 something, but let's just say 400. Anyway, it's also a little bit bigger font and spaced, so it's easier to read. I will not be able to get away with that with this because it is there's a maximum amount of pages you can do for like self-publishing and stuff. So I'm gonna have to reduce the font size and perhaps the margins between the lines, which unfortunately I was doing that because it made it easier for people to read with a physical copy. So yeah, so that's that. But it's slowly picking up steam, and I'm happy about that. And I hope I can keep that going. Like, it is yeah, there's still a lot to go in the book. Even though I'm like 115 pages or so into it. But yeah, not nearly where I want to be page count wise, but we'll get into the page count thing. It'll be part of my discussion here in a bit. But that what else has been going on? I've been chipping away at 12 still. It is, I don't know how to feel about it. I still don't. I think I've got the full party because it's kind of a smaller cast of characters, which is fine. I don't know. I really don't know how I want to feel about it. In one hand, I feel like it's going a little too fast. And another hand, it feels like it's going a little too slow. Plot-wise, perhaps a little too fast. Running around, perhaps a little too slow. So, yeah, I don't quite know how to feel about it. Yeah, it is. I like the plot stuff and kind of what's going on with the plot, but, and I know I've mentioned this before, Vaughn has certainly done nothing to endear me to him. I really don't like him. That might be making it a little too. That might be giving me the mixed feelings I got for the game, but it is. How to put it? Like, he is. His interjections on things to people who are like, "Who are you and why do I care?" It's kind of. While I understand it, I get it. So it is. It's not like it's not bad in that regard, but it is kind of crashing into each other tonally and to some degree, and it's like you're kind of there for the ride a little bit there, Vaughn, because everybody else has a lot bigger things to be doing, and a lot more important things going on than what you've got going on, which is good, because there's far too many times where games are like, oh, I know Slade, previous guest on the show, I know Slade has done this before, where he's been like, talking about how a lot of JRPGs have this, the learning the power and of friendship and how wonderful and magical that is, and then going to kill God or something like that. Like it's ridiculous. I don't think that is quite how 12 is going. I don't know. I have vague recollections and certain things about it, but I think it's a little less kind of like that, and a little bit more of the whole political aspect, and that's kind of what I enjoy, is that political drama going on with this one. That's what made Tactics so enjoyable, and then all of a sudden you get rushed to, well, not really rushed, but like it feels like you get rushed towards the end, because it's just like everything comes to a head and stuff. So, but yeah, I've put in a little bit more time in it. Like, truthfully, lately I've maybe given games about like an hour every other day or so. Like, I've just not had terribly much time with it. I have dabbled a little bit into Doom 2 as well. Well, the Plutonia experiments. Because I'm going through, because they released this thing called like Legacy of Rust, which is like a whole new thing with a couple new monsters and I think a new weapon. They scale back. You don't get the plasma. I don't know if you get the plasma rifle. I don't think you do. Maybe you do, but you don't get the BFG. It might be that you'll get the you get something else. You get a couple different weapons instead. Which are pretty neat. I haven't played it yet, but it seems like it'd be a good old grand old time. But I'm working my way up to that, and it is. I only like to play things on ultra violence because I am a maniac, and even if I'm not the greatest at it, there's no other way to play Doom, and I don't like playing the Nightmare one because I don't like the resuscitating or the resurrecting monsters kind of thing. Like, it's like, come on. Like, I mean, I get it, but I don't play quick enough to go through there. So the so I'm going through the like maybe a chapter or two, or a level or two a day or so. And I just started that up recently, so I think I'm on level 5 or something, level 5 or 6. I've played through it before. It's been a hot minute, and I can see why. Like, I have a soft spot for TNT, but I understand why TNT as a whole is considered by a lot of people not nearly as good as Plutonium Experiment. It does feel like they put a little bit better thought into level design and monster design, or not design, but like monster placements and mixtures and stuff. Because that's one thing that, like, I know I mentioned my disdain for Final Fantasy V. It is the game that will always be annoying to me. Part of that's because of how people rated it and said it was super duper awesome. They're on those wonderful game FAQs back in the day, the GameFAQs.com. Part of that certainly is the reason why it annoys me, or at least at the time. And then just playing through it, didn't find it very interesting, didn't find it very good. But where was I going with that? Why? Oh, yeah, because one of the biggest complaints I have for it, other than the music, other than the story, other than the story beats, other than 7/10 of everything else about the game, the dungeons. The dungeons, not necessarily the layout of them, because quite frankly, I don't really remember the layouts for them, and that's not to say good or bad. Like, I remember the stuff for Final Fantasy 1, but that's because I played that game for eons, and I also really enjoy that game. So, but the problem with fives, which is just weird to me that this was a problem, because I don't remember it being a problem for the previous installments of Final Fantasy games, is the monster groups in the dungeons there'd be like 2 of them for the whole dungeon. That's what it felt like. It felt like you were running into the same monster groups over and over and over and over again. Whether that's in the dungeons, whether it's in large groups, large areas in the different world map sections and stuff like that, you just run into the same couple fights, and that drove me batty. Like, I'm not a big job. I'm not a big job class person. I barely look like I even have a job in the first place, but I don't know. Like, I get it in one hand, because then you can compare and tweak the different classes for the characters. So in one hand, I can at least rationalize why that may be the case. But the other hand, it's just like, this is annoying. Mix these things up a little bit, please. I'm begging you. At least that's how it felt to me. I haven't played the game in over 20. Oh no, not over 20. Almost 20 years. It has been a while. So, I think I've told this before, but I met previously aforementioned Matt Arble. We played it together on the PS1, and we got to a point in the game where we got so tired. At least I got tired with it. He probably did to some degree, but not to the same level that I did. And maybe he did. I don't know. I'm not. I don't. I'm not in his brain to know these things. I got so agitated with the game that we basically got to the samurai class and just started, as one does in life when you have the resource for it, to solve your problems, just throw a lot of money at it. And that is what we did. We just basically did the throw guild thing. We're like, okay, all right. Just started doing that. And it was, yeah, I should do a proper review of it to get it out of my system and just be like, I will never talk about this again. But I know that would never be the case, because I know at some point it'll come up and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. So, blah. But yeah, that's that. I think that's only got. I mean, that's 20 minutes. That's a lot of gotten. Right. So the topic at hand here is, as you can tell by the title, it's number games. I wanted to talk about how to put this. It feels like we get into this whenever we want to validate anything. We just kind of pull to the numbers, especially with things like ratioing somebody, or just anything of the sort. Or you put up a poll. The poll numbers say this. Sorry, I'm gonna make a note for something. The poll numbers say this. So, like, should we add flying squirrels in the next game? Yes, no, maybe. And, it's so 80% say yes. I wonder if part of it doesn't come from, and I imagine it does, the great push to try to convince ourselves that that democracy is the best way because of well, if more people say it is good, therefore it is good, line of thinking. And I don't think so. I really, as somebody who grew up being ostracized and being made fun of for their birth defects and whatnot, I'm gonna go with a no. Sure, there are certainly things that the boy needed picking on, but that's group behavior. And what's the line? What's always right? What's oh shoot? What is that? Where did that come from? What's right? No, that is definitely. What's right isn't always what's legal. I don't think that's quite the phrase. No. There we go. There's allegedly, by Einstein here, what is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right. And then somebody asking in a philosophical chat here, can we reconcile this idea with the concept of democratic societies? Look at that! Look at that! We thinking on the same line about this, because we have convinced ourselves that unless it goes against something in here, that no, it's totally what I believe. But if the group says it's all right, then yeah, I mean that is totally right. It makes a sense. But we have convinced ourselves that the numbers for things that the Napoleon quote there of what's that, the quantity has a quality all unto its own. And so when you got the numbers for it, it is it's always it's fine, it's good, it's great, and then it seems to have bled into everything. Like, take social media for example. Somebody got ratioed because I get tired of seeing this, because it's somebody makes a point, and whatever that point may be, whether you disagree with it, agree with it, I don't care. That's not how truthful is the point, first of all. Like, what is it trying to get to? Because I think you know, you have, like, I think we get a little mixed up. Like there you can, there's the, like, just the facts, the truth of the matter, and then there's kind of ways to highlight that in different different angles and whatnot. But they'll say something, and then somebody will come in with some sort of snarky comment, and then people like, and then they'll be like, oh, I ratioed this person. Well, as if that is a validation of some sort of like supremacy of the of an idea, or just like how bad or good, you know, something is because of it. And that's all burns down to is we're turning ourselves into nothing but numbers. I mean, you see this in a financial sense as well, of like how much time is it taking with your output to make this money, but oh well, you cost this much, but somebody else might cost this much, or this much less, or this much more, so we'll stick with you or go with this one. And you know, we're turning ourselves into that, or we see that ourselves at that. Look, for example, you know, not trying to be political here, but the where it's like you have people coming across to work field jobs and whatnot, or other sorts of occupations, and people are like, well, they're not paid well enough, like for they're not paid, that those positions are not paid well enough for Americans to want to do that kind of hard labor, which is mildly insulting, to say the least, as an argument. but it's basically saying we don't want to pay more for this position to possibly entice people, so instead we're going to allow people who it's a similar labor that they would have been doing there, they can do it here for a little bit more. You're like, but it's all turning into numbers. It's like, oh, this makes me more money than that. Oh, more people say I'm like, more people agreed with me on my little comment or whatnot, and that's all. It's all we've turned everything into numbers. It's like, I'll bring it up. I don't have definitives, partially because you know, you give, like, I've given copies of both Sager's Calling and Sudraba. I don't know if I can get a good estimate on No. I don't think I can. I thought I could do like a total lifetime for orders and stuff. I can, because I am. There we go. So if I'm looking at the the process of the units, both ebook and print, for Sudraba and Sager's Calling, if I just look at the numbers of it, Sudraba, the first book, was a lot more successful than Sager's Calling. If I'm looking at it just like that, which is always, I guess, a concern. Part of it's, you got to take consideration, this came out literally right in the middle of the start of COVID there back in July of 2020. But I've also given away a lot of books, so and would those people that I had given them to, would they have bought them? I don't know. If I look at this, I could be like, oh, this is an abject failure. I have, not sold nearly as many books for the part 1 as I did for the Sudraba book, which is kind of a bit of a bummer because I like, personally, I like Sager's Calling part 1 a lot more than Sudraba, because Sudraba is mean and it is an ugly book, and it's one of those things where you just have to kind of retch it out and be like, there you go. But and then Sager's a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little less like that. But if I'm going just by those numbers, then I could be like, oh, I'm a failure. And then what do I do to process to be like, oh, well, if it's not working like that, what do I need to change in the book to make it more appealing, and how do I get it to do that? And it's like, I'm not doing that. I mean, if you have followed this channel and seen any of my videos, you know that I am not very good at doing that. The perpetually stuck at wherever I'm at for subscriber count. Would it be nicer to be like, oh yes, there's the views on this versus that, more and stuff? Sure, but then once again you start going, well, what do I need to do to bump those numbers up? And to be fair, there's 2 paths to take on that. One is the completely, what's the word I want to use? Just the ham it up to like tie in with the algorithm and whatnot. That's about the best way I can phrase it. But to do that, or to be like, well, I could make it more entertaining, or I can put in more cuts, or I can be a bit sillier or what have you. I mean, they're like things, the introspective inwardly versus the outwardly, like going, like trying to be popular by chasing what people find popular versus just being yourself. And like I've said before, this is much more just a hobby and something I like to do. It's not necessarily anything I'm like, yes, I will make lots of money from no. That is not the case. Even for the things that I like to do, they don't make me a lot of money either. But I like to do them, so that's what I do. Whether that's pig-headed or what. But yeah. So I have. It is a trend that has been going on for a while, and I don't have a really good way of trying to figure out how we combat that outside of people just being a bit more, I don't want to say hesitant, but just kind of give a pause. Just because somebody comes in with some zinger or some snarky comment, that doesn't really do anything. Maybe gives you a chuckle for a moment or something, but and unless they tie it in with an argument for something, then it really isn't doing its favors there. But it's like, yeah, sure, it's attacking the bad substance potentially of something, but then it's like all it's doing is cutting it down. And it's almost like a tree farm. You're trying to plant trees, but they're like really bad trees, and they're not doing much of anything. They're not really giving you much, but we're gonna just chop them down anyways. Well, you might need those bad trees to build up to something better. And if you're just chopping it all down, going, oh, just going. That's it. Just going. just going. But yeah, don't know if there's a really good because I think we're kind of, ooh, that was blurry. I think we've kind of trained ourselves, or we're just predisposed, to think, oh, more agree, therefore yes, let us agree, which makes sense. I mean, you know, if we're going from an evolutionary standpoint of, oh, there's like 20 of us and 12 of us want to do this thing, well, okay, yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Or, you know, 12 want one leader and then 5 want the other one, but okay, I guess otherwise there'll just be 5 of us and that might not turn out so well. And you go that route. But I mean, when you get so big, when those numbers are so massive, I think we have to change our thought processes on that. Our thought processes. You know, if you have 1,000 people, it doesn't necessarily, you know, and not only that, but just because even in the small instances, sure, that could be life or death right there. And not to say that it can't be life or death for the bigger ones, but it's like a confirmation bias. It's, well, it worked. We're alive. We got here. So we got it. And we should take the moment to reflect and be like, maybe not. Maybe even though we have a majority of something, doesn't necessarily mean that is the appropriate way to go about something. Which is, I think, why we try to lean on the, well, we're a democratic republic. We do that. Which I don't know about that. I think we're labeled something else. Don't think it's kind of where we're at the moment. Oligarchy. Excuse me. But those oligarchic tendencies aside, we you know, this, it doesn't even have to be anything like political. Like, this literally can be just anything, whether it's what we consider like culturally interesting or just even socially, because we seem to want to blur the lines between, you know, the social media stuff being, what's that? What was the Tyler? Was it Tyler the Creator thing? The meme of him, just close your eyes. It's not real. That's pretty much it, right? It's we give the internet and stuff a lot more credence than what it really should have. Right? It's not real. Just close your eyes. But yeah, we were like, oh well, you know, so many people thought, I don't know, so many people thought what's the latest Star Wars stuff was bad. I don't know, I'm not a Star Wars fan. So, I hear it enough. I like Shadows of the Empire. That was a fun game. But I've not even watched like the full original trilogy. I don't think I have. I know I've watched the first 2 that came out, and I don't think I ever fully watched through Return of the Jedi. And if I did, I was bored with it. I'm much more of a Star Trek dork, so catch me on those forums. Clickety clack, yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's I guess if anything, what it does is it also has this just hammerfall, just constantly beating the idea of, well, it's the popular thing that matters. Excuse me. It's the numbers that matter, when it's, in truth, just matters here. Me. I'm the one that matters. No, it matters how you feel about the thing as opposed to the numbers of that. Like, no, it's one thing to be like convinced. Oh, hey, it is right to do this or that or something, but you gotta feel it here. You gotta here. You gotta get those on the same page and be like, and not just go, well, you know, a lot of people say this. Well, a lot of people say a lot of things. Case in point, the internet. I think we'd just do better to not consider that too much. You know, and I say that, and then I cheekily bring up the Final Fantasy V thing. Just like I said, it had annoyed me greatly going through, and at the time, so this would have been about 20 years ago. At the time, seeing nothing but 9s or 10s. I don't think there was anything lower than like an 8 for that game, which blew me away. Completely baffled me. Actually, I'm going to look right now. Let us see. Game FAQs. The site that's still around. Final Fantasy. If I can learn how to spell. 5. Let's see here. We're going to go with... This is the 92. So this is the Super Famicom. Nope. Reviews. Oh my goodness. They've actually allowed lower scores. I see a 5. Oh, there's a 3. Oh, this is in 2007. This would have been shortly after Matt and I played it. Yeah, so it was a while there. Yeah, 7. Yeah, it looked like 7 might have been the lowest score in 2000. But more reviews have come out to. But yeah, there's like tons of 9s and 10s. And the like it, with something like that, it really, when you see that. So like at that time I had just within the last year or two had played through like Xenogears and stuff, and I really like Xenogears, but I know there's a lot of problems with it. Like this whole second disc is that's a little bit of an issue. The battle system is a little slow. It's a little wordy. I get it. There are issues with it, but I really enjoy it. However, there's like a fantastic review that doesn't like the game, but takes the not the slogan, but the sentence to try to get it to sell, like stand tall and shake the heavens. And they took that and they put that as their title for the review of like stand tall and shake the heavens with your terrible gameplay and uninteresting story or something like that. And and it's fine. Like it's like they had legitimate complaints, and not only they have legitimate complaints, but they're allowed to have those sorts of things. I guess when you see that and you tried it. And I know I had tried to do some reviews for it back in the day. One of them, albeit I can understand why they didn't put it in, because I was pretty scathing and just mean-spirited about. But the other one, I was just like, yeah, it's just not a very good game, blah, 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 blah. And it was rejected. So you had whoever was putting the things together was just like, no, we have to defend our precious Final Fantasy V. Kind of like somebody who's got a hold of. It would be like me going, oh my goodness, there can be no bad reviews for Rudra no Hiho. And it's also a game that's not been really out there in the sense of outside of Japan, proper release and stuff. And trying to protect the sacred pig of, oh my goodness. It's like, no, people are going to like it. I think it's neat. I think it's fun. It can also be kind of obnoxious, and if you don't learn proper mantras or the prefixes or suffixes of them, you're not beating that game. Maybe you can. I certainly couldn't, unless I learned the proper wordings of things. But yeah, it felt like it was kind of one of those things where somebody was like, well, 5 outside of the PS1 version hasn't been out, and even then, this is time of the PS2 and stuff, so it's still a little hush hush. No, yeah, we gotta protect. We gotta protect the sacredness of Final Fantasy V. That's kind of what it felt like, and I took that personally. And you really shouldn't. Like, it's kind of, you should just be like, oh no, that's stupid. And I would have much better spent that time playing something else, but that was alright. I played with Matt, so it was good times that way. But because I know I had tried to play it before by myself, and I fell asleep playing it, and I remember him and another mutual friend came into the dorm room and woke me up because I had fallen asleep playing it mid-battle. And Rob was like, oh my, it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. It was not even, maybe not even that late, but I was just, I conked out, and they're like, and Rob was just like, what the fuck? What? How could you fall asleep playing a game? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, what the heck? That's how little I found joy in that game. But anyways, that's what I got. Just, yeah, don't take the numbers so personally. Don't think of them as anything other than simply that, numbers. And though they may have a quality all unto their own, doesn't mean necessarily that the quality means anything. Just much like anything, right? It's whatever the meaning is that you wish to give it. And for some, I think we put it a little too much into it, and not even just in every instance of it, but in smaller, even more insignificant ways, much like how Final Fantasy V is very insignificant. Anyways, that's what I got for you today. Thanks for listening, watching, all that sort of fun jazz. Enjoy your day, weekend, weeknights, and everything in between. I'll catch you next week. And the outro for this one is going to be, because I finally burned the album onto my computer, because I've had the soundtrack forever, and I keep on forgetting it. But yeah, we're gonna do the To the Last Battle off of disc 4 for the Xenoblade 1 soundtrack. I think I mentioned it before, but I got 3 some time ago. I have no interest in playing 2. Just saying that. I'm really not feeling the interest in playing 2. But I'll give 3 a go, and I get it. There are certain things that tie into them and whatnot. But yeah, I'll just skip to 3. But that won't be until sometime after I beat 12. 3 years from now. So in the meantime, Xenoblade. Yeah, To the Last Battle, the outro. Catch you later. Toodles!